Welcome to the show, everybody. Well, we start with the latest major protest against plans to house hundreds of asylum seekers at a military base. People demonstrated in Crowborough in East Sussex earlier today. Well, the site has capacity to house 540 men. Army cadets had used the training camp but moved out earlier this week. Well, we are now joined by Emma Parr, who was at today's protest. Emma, lovely to see you again, and thank you for joining me on the show today. Why is it important that you are protesting at this particular base, and what do you think the consequences will be for the local residents near the area?
So, yeah, lovely to see you again. So, obviously, where I've been looking at Wethersfield, and we've been aligning the similarities between the two. So, for example, the Foster Hartley contract has been won for the buses. So they will also be having undocumented men, economic migrant men that are in the base, taken into the town centres. So it was really important that I went down there today. I also went down there yesterday and just did a little speech just to let them know, the locals know what could be expected and what could happen.
There's a lot of people there, Emma. I'm looking at the footage now. Despite the terrible weather we've got, that's a big showing. Did the local people there feel like they were consulted before this decision took place?
So, yeah, there's a lot of people there today. So it was up to around 2,000 people. So the footage, I think, is the stuff that I sent in earlier. I'm sending it into Will. So last week was around 3,000 to 4,000. This week was 2,000. It's a big amount of people to come out in the rain. We was absolutely soaked today, and they stayed behind for the speeches. And that's it's a big walk. And yeah, everyone's really coming together. So you've got the Crowborough Shield, which are, doing the legal case. And you've also got the patrol team as well. And then you've got the guys that are also running. So you've got everyone's coming together. Really good community feel. And I've only known these people a couple of weeks. And it's really weird that, if this wasn't happening, I wouldn't know they existed. And they feel like my friends and family now. They're so welcoming. They really are lovely people.
Yeah. And
they only found out literally 5 weeks ago, and they've come together and raised a lot of money.
Yeah, and a lot of people in that short period of time as well. What was the feeling amongst the people there at the protest?
So everyone's really sad at the moment because, as you know, the cadets were finally moved out of the base as of Thursday. They can no longer use them. Also, they invited some of the cadets to come at the front of the protest. They wasn't allowed to wear their cadet outfits, but it was a really sad moment, and some of the speeches were really lovely as well. I've got a bit of tear in my eye. One of the organisers, he spoke about his father passing away in hospital recently and how terrible the service was, and then obviously now these guys are going to be using these hospital services. There's another 600 men that are going to be using these hospital services. As of Wethersfield, they also get the same service. So they get sort of bussed in by Foster Hartley on a daily basis and prioritised over, people paying their taxes.
Indeed. What did the cadets make of it? Did you manage to speak to any of them? And do we know where they might be moved to participate in their training?
There isn't anywhere for them to go, so it's thousands and thousands of young cadets, not just from this area, all from Brighton, all them areas that are no longer be able to use it, and it just felt really emotional today, and that's why I felt like I needed to go back over again today, and they ended up doing a little speech again. It's just everyone's coming together so lovely, but it felt really emotional today.
Yeah, but this is really difficult, isn't it? Because, of course, many people are, should I say, protesting up and down the country at migrant hotels. Now, the government have pledged to end those migrant hotels and said, actually, military bases will be the vehicle to house migrants, illegal migrants, going forward. What do you think the government should be doing? If we don't want them in military bases, we don't want them in hotels, and many people will say they don't want them in houses of multiple occupancy either. What should the government be doing? What is the message?
Right, so if you have come here as a genuine refugee, you should stay here. If you have travelled over on a boat and you're an economic migrant that has broken the law by coming over here, they need to be detained, tagged and then removed. That is what I say. These guys are allowed to just roam freely. So at Wethersfield, we released recently a list of people that went missing, and they only report it back to the Home Office if they've gone missing after 7 days. So there was 600 missing from Wethersfield. We know, I think there was 54,000 that have been released across the whole of the UK now. Where are they going? It's quite concerning. yeah, so that's my view.
And Emma, do you think the protests will continue?
The protest will continue, yeah. Every Sunday it will be going on now. So I'm not sure if it falls over Christmas and what day and stuff like that, but they are carrying on.
There we go. Well, Emma Parr, thank you very much for joining me to fill us in and to give us your opinions on that. It's lovely to see you again, looking well.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
There we go.
I was actually soaked. I've just got back, but...
Well, good for you, and thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. I know our audience love to hear from real people as well, so thanks, Emma. Really appreciate that. Well, look... on that story, a Home Office spokesperson said this: "We are furious at the level of illegal migrants and asylum hotels. Moving to large military sites is an important part of our reforms to tackle illegal migration and the pull factors that make the UK an attractive destination. We're continuing to accelerate plans to move people into Crowborough and Cameron Barracks when the sites are fully operational and safe. We will not replicate the mistakes of the past where rushed plans have led to unsafe and chaotic situations that impacts the local community." OK, well, there you have it.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 months extra for free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
Well, look, it has only been 11 days since the budget. Can you believe it? But more big news about Rachel Reeves' huge welfare giveaway emerged this morning. Almost 350,000 families from foreign-born households are set to benefit from new measures introduced by the Chancellor. It's all down to Labour lifting the 2-child benefit cap, of course. The decision will add £3.5 billion annually to the welfare bill in less than 5 years' time. And to talk about this important topic, because I'm sure you'll be raging at home hearing this stuff, broadcaster and journalist Danny Kelly and political commentator Jonathan List. Now, Danny, hard-working people have been punished by this government since the first budget. Now, the second budget, it hasn't helped them in any single way whatsoever. It's just increased by stealth taxes on them. They said they were going to be for working people. This budget, I don't think anyone really can disagree, but it has, unfortunately, been not for working people. It's been for the opposite.
Alex, let me tell you something. By the way, that £3.5 billion in 2029 will feel more like £4 billion. Well, £3.5 billion today, it'll be like £4 billion in 2029. What Labour are doing, and all of our viewers and listeners are basically funding this, they are buying votes from families who will generally now definitely vote Labour, who historically have an affinity towards Labour anyway, for various reasons, because it benefits them financially to vote for Labour. This is Starmer's way of buying. So there's 350,000 families. Let's assume mum and dad in each family. So you've got 700,000 potential votes. That's what he's doing. He is buying votes. And the taxpayers listening to this, they will understandably say, well, look, you know, we had to only have a certain amount of children because we had a budget. We couldn't afford a third kid, a fourth kid. And this goes against everything. The hard-working people, I believe, feel that is morally correct. You know, they cut their cloth accordingly. And now what they do, they see 350,000 families benefiting financially. It's an open door to have as many kids as you want.
Yeah, Jonathan, this is where it will upset people. It's the disproportionality. It's the disproportionality. So you've got foreign-born population in the UK, 16%, roughly. Proportion of beneficiaries of those foreign-born, it's between 33 and 62%, give or take, here or there. But 1/3 of all UK families with 3 or more children are foreign-born, according to the 2021 census. Among those on universal credit, households with 3 or more children are foreign-born, out of a total of 710,000, equating to about 48%. That's quite high, isn't it? And they're going to be disproportionately benefiting from this budget, as where hard-working British taxpayers will be less better off.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't pit quote-unquote hard-working people against people on benefits. A lot of people who are working extremely hard and are on benefits, the majority of benefits claimants are working.
That's true.
And I would not make an assumption either, Danny, about the people watching this programme or any other. There may be many families or people watching this show or listening to this show who will also benefit if they have more than 2 kids, for example. They will be able to benefit from the measures as well. It's not only presumably well-off pensioners who are watching this.
And I think it's a fair assumption because it's GB News. We know who our audience is.
Well, there are disabled people.
This isn't Radio 4.
No, there are disabled people.
News.
There are plenty of benefits claimants who write into this show who might be disabled, who might be poor. I think it's wrong to try and divide people against, or play people off against each other, or divide sections of the population. I think there has to be a basic level of fairness in this. And the other thing I would say, which comes up all the time, I'm actually not particularly interested, broadly speaking, in the reasons why people have kids or what might happen to them afterwards that they might not be able to anticipate. The fundamental problem, or the fundamental point, is that children are not to blame for anything that their parents do or believe. And I don't think it's right to punish children in a system that says the parents can't have money to sort of feed and clothe their children properly after a certain number of kids.
But Jonathan, this is the point, and I agree. I have made a monologue to the audience here about how we shouldn't demonise people on benefits. I know that from my own family experience myself. However, we're talking about foreign-born households here. We're talking about foreign-born households who are going to disproportionately benefit from this budget, who, by all accounts, are a net drain on the economy, not a net positive, so they are taking more than they're giving. And the British public will be looking around when they're being asked to pay more, they're not getting anything back for their work in this country. Well, why should we be propping up foreign-born citizens? Why should any other normal country you're sent home?
The point is in the sentence you just said. Citizens. I don't care where people were born. Plenty of people were born somewhere else. Prince Philip was born somewhere else. Boris Johnson was born somewhere else. Who cares? You can disagree with them. I don't care where someone sort of came out of their mother. It doesn't matter.
What about when we look at Australia, you look at the United States, you look at Dubai, UAE, many other sensible countries around the world will not allow you to stay.
You think the UAE is more sensible than Britain?
I'm just giving you a litany of India. I'll give you a litany of countries that will deport you if you are not a net positive.
I don't think that the UAE is necessarily the model that we should be following. A country that is basically been built on slave labour.
Australia?
What about Australia?
If you're not on a net, if you don't get to live there on benefits, if you don't work and you're a net negative drain,
I don't think that we should be looking to Australia for a model on migration.
Who should we look to?
A country that had a white Australia policy until the 1970s, and then implemented a migration policy for boat arrivals at the United Nations.
Do you blame the Battle of Hastings for a bad budget? If you go back all this nonsense, come on, you can't go back to the 1970s on these.
You absolutely can. Australia, I love Australia. I just spent a month there last month.
Were you deported?
Absolutely. No, I left on my own accord. But I love it, but it's not a model for migration or for race relations. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Danny?
Well, look, I get frustrated with people constantly going back through history to justify a contemporary point in 2025. I haven't been to Australia. It's the one place I wouldn't want to go to, purely because it takes so long to get there and everything. And I don't know what it's like with race relations and harmony within society. I don't know whether that's still a valid comparison, Jonathan. But I go back to my main point, and I genuinely think this is Labour's way of buying votes, because they will have those votes in the bag for 2029. That's when it kicks in. Yeah, and that's when the next election is. I genuinely think this is Starmer's way. He may not be at the helm, but his way of buying 700,000 votes.
Do you know what really what upsets me? And I know many of you at home, pensioners are not well off in this country. Let's just be honest. Like, the vast majority of pensioners are not well off. And I know you said there are some. I know you're saying
I'm saying that it's not only... A lot of pensioners are also claiming welfare.
Yeah,
that's the point I'm making.
But we do look up... But there's a point to look after the elderly in that.
Right, and I think that we should be looking after all vulnerable people in this
country. Well, I don't think we should also be looking after every Tom, Dick and Harry who comes to this country and is a net drain on us, particularly when working people are having to face more tax, particularly when Labour promised us in their manifesto that they wouldn't tax
working people. Alex? Working people can have accidents, working people can fall on hard times, working people can see changes in circumstances, working people can have kids.
Yeah, but Jonathan, that's not the point.
This is the point.
We shouldn't be
working people are not
from foreign countries.
It doesn't matter where people are from.
It does matter where people are from. We're not the world's... We're not a charity for the rest of the world, Jonathan.
Newsflash, Alex. Working people, foreign-born people also work.
Yes,
in this country.
Working.
They're also they are also working
they may
people.
Be working, but
why working people
net...
different from foreign-born people?
Yeah, Jonathan,
are they two different people? Are foreign-born people sitting at home and working people and not foreign-born?
Who are our responsibility, and there are people born in different countries who are not our responsibility.
Well,
we are not a charity.
If they are citizens, then they are absolutely part of us. They contribute to us. They are our responsibility.
They might not be citizens.
You keep on
all we know is it's foreign-born.
Alex, you can be foreign-born and be a citizen. I just gave you some prominent examples of people who are foreign-born citizens.
Yes, but there'll be people in that sector that are not citizens, and they should not be given benefits.
Well, their children may be citizens. So you're saying the British citizens should be discriminated against?
No, but that's I believe it's your job as a parent to look after your children and be responsible.
If your child's a British citizen, should
Jonathan,
you not get benefits if you are foreign-born? Is that the argument?
If you're in debt and you keep on buying more things, who's responsible, you or the bank?
Well, I don't think that children should be punished for the decisions of their parents.
Well, I don't
no
believe... Well, that's like saying I don't believe people should be punished. That's like saying...
Well, I don't think that children should be punished for anything.
That's like saying I don't think people should be punished for getting into debt. Punish the banks.
Children are the ones being going into debt, Alex.
All right, well, listen,
children should not be to blame for the sins of their parents. I'm sorry.
Danny Kelly, Jonathan Liss, thanks for a good-hearted debate, Jonathan, as ever. Back to the good old days, eh? Government spokesman said this. Overall, the proportion of universal credit claimants who are foreign nationals has fallen since October 2024, and we will consult on restricting migrant access to benefits if they are not making an economic contribution to the UK.